Welcome to another Terranscapes video. This video features a product which is probably known to most people if you follow terrain or wargaming in general. This is Games Workshop's new modular board set, which is a cast resin board set featuring 6 2x2 squares. This was sent to me by a customer to finish for them as they purchased it, of course, as it comes unpainted. And I wanted to discuss a little bit about what I chose to do on this board set, as well as some of the pros and cons of the board set and some of its features. So first, after discussing with the customer, he is interested in putting Imperial sector buildings on it and doing a layout with like a ruined city. It's primarily going to be used for 40K, although it may be used for other games. And so after taking a look on the GW site at some of their suggested color schemes, I decided to go with the Ash Wasteland. And the Ash Wasteland features these sort of lighter highlighted sections with the darker grays and sort of stony look to it, and using some of the some new highlighting techniques actually to me, which involve some gradual shading of a little bit lighter towards the center using multiple colors and a couple highlights. This produced, I think, a pretty stunning look actually, and I was pretty impressed. This is a different way of painting than I've been using on large pieces of terrain, and it's something that I'm definitely going to be doing more of in the future. One of the questions I had was whether the customer wanted any flock added to the board. Now the Ash Wasteland does not have any flock on it. I don't see from the pictures. I don't think it's needed. One of the questions that came up with a friend of mine when I was gaming recently is, wouldn't it, adding some flock, soften the die rolls? Wouldn't it make you know, feel a little better to play on? So I decided to do a little practice run. This is 10 dice, and I thought, what does that sound like? How does it look? You know, and gosh, actually, I liked it. As soon as I started throwing dice on it, I felt like it's not as loud and plasticky as I expected. It's got kind of a muted sound to it. The dice are easy to pick up. The surface is smooth enough that you're going to be able to slide miniatures across it, but it doesn't feel sort of, well, tinny isn't the right word because of course it's plastic, but you know, it doesn't feel thin and snappy in sound. It's got a nice muted, dull roll. Overall, I like it. So I don't recommend adding any flock to it, especially because it's going to begin to hide some of the nice wasteland appearance of the board, but I wanted to mention that just in case. A couple of features on the board that I finished in certain ways so that you could see some of my thinking. Of course, the boards feature these sort of ruined road sections. There's a couple of them that come one up the hill. There's a couple little pieces over here. These were finished in a very gray, cold stone look. Not evident really in the coloring of this. It's a subtle change, but the rocky faces were done with a little bit more of a warmer color scheme. It's got a little touch of cream in it to soften it and to distinguish it a little bit from the road surfaces. Of course, the most infamous part of these board sets, the love-hate that people are talking about, is the skull patches. This is sort of a broken wasteland area with skulls embedded within it. And I thought to break that up and to give it something that looks a little bit better was to soften the skull look by filling it with a resin that only allows just the surfaces of the skulls to really poke through. They kind of fade out as it goes down, as though it's hiding the depth. You don't know what's going on down there. And it really de-emphasizes that glaring white, you know, skull explosion that's coming out of these holes. There's 4 of these holes, 2 on 2 different boards. And I think that actually came out fantastic. The color discussed with the customer was a green. He wanted something that looked fairly murky and might even be usable for like Mordheim, where he would have this sort of warp stonish essence. And I didn't want to go too bright because I thought it'd look a little too neon. So ended up with a pretty green, swampy color with it's a little bit tough in that glare, but let's see here if I can get better lighting on it. No, that's better. That's got enough green in it to give that essence, but doesn't look cartoonish. And of course, the set features a whole variety of small skulls stuck into cracks and crevices. There's bones and such tucked around. I picked those out to give those a little bit of detail. I think, you know, in looking at the board set, a couple things that I'd mentioned that I liked and a couple things I didn't. One of the things is that I really liked the sloping hills. They have this interesting, let's see here, looks a little better over here. they've got this interesting where they slope up partway to the height of the hill and then do a quick rise. And I think that's a nice compromise, although not every model is going to sit on this slope perfectly, especially some of the new Vampire Count Lord models are very tippy, depending on how they're facing. It's a nice compromise to maintaining the flat surface where you can put large regiments on or war machines, but still not have it look too hummocky as it rises up from the board. This is something you'll probably be seeing me emulate more in the future as I do some more development on more board sets. I've got a new board set for a desert or a Martian type theme coming out soon, and I might be including one of these hills in that, as well as another board set coming up. So that's a pretty nice feature. I like that. The other thing I liked about the board set is that it's actually quite durable. It's got this, well, it's not really a honeycomb, but you know what I'm saying, sort of surface underneath that actually makes it quite rigid, so it feels durable. The corners are quite strong. That's one of the problems of using polystyrene, such as I use, is that the corners are likely to get impacted and dent. But one of the other things that I noticed about this is that because the surface is not yielding, a sharp strike across the surface will scratch it. I've put a couple coats of matte clear coat on this to protect the paint, but that's not going to really give it a lot of protection, so it's something to consider. And it's going to be a little tougher if you get a scratch that cuts across one of these faded, highlights. That's going to be pretty tricky to touch up. And so, extra care is really going to be needed for the surfaces of these. Whereas on a board set like mine, because the flocking is irregular and modeled, you can fix it pretty easily just by putting a little flocking wherever the scratches or dings are, and nobody's really going to know. And if you buy one of my regular modular board sets, I always include a little bag of flock for you, just for that purpose. So, overall, though, I think the set, I like it. It's got some layout restrictions, of course, because of the way the hills are arranged in the corners. If you want any interior hills, you have to add some, and I think that's going to start getting a little crowded. But still, there's a little bit of flexibility in the layout, and I think that the detail that's on the board is quite attractive, and I think it really took the paint well, and it's going to be a nice surface to play on. So this just highlights one of the other services that Terranscapes can do for you. If you're interested in having Terranscapes finish certain products, GW, terrain, etc., that's always an option. A board set like this is about 4 hours of labor, maybe 5 hours of labor, plus some, with consultation, and that puts it in a reasonable price scheme for your investment. I've seen quite a few boards online that people have been finishing on their own that really, well, I don't want to be insulting, but some of them don't look so great. And I figure if you're going to invest $300 into a playing surface, or $250 or whatever this board set is currently, it seems like it might be worth to invest another $50 to $100 in labor and get them done right, so that you've got a stunning piece. And I think when these boards are painted to a professional standard, they're pretty amazing. So if you ever have any questions about how Terranscapes can do custom work for you, of course you can always visit Terranscapes.com. And you can go to the custom work gallery and see some of the work that Terranscapes has done. And you can always contact me for requests for new projects or to emulate some of the projects that you have seen. Thanks.